Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Lauren from A Menagerie of Stitches. Today I'm so excited to share with you the start of a super fun series I'll be doing here on my channel called the 12 Days of Mini Christmas Amigurumi. Every day leading up to Christmas, I'll be sharing a new tutorial for a mini amigurumi. These work up quickly, so they're a great project to work on during the holiday season. They're also the perfect size for ornaments, so you can add a little hook or string to hang on your tree each day. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a day. If you prefer an ad-free PDF version of these patterns, you can purchase the downloadable PDF on my website, amenagerieofstitches.com. Before I reveal the mini for day one, let me go over the materials you'll need for today's project. You can also find the full material list in the description below. For this series, choose whichever yarns are your favorite. I'll be using Hobbii Rainbow Cotton 8/4 as well as Friends Cotton 8/4. While these are technically two different yarns, they are the same weight, which is a weight 1 or super fine. And I find that they're nearly identical, which is why I use them both within the same pattern. These projects are small enough that you'll only need one skein of each color. This is also a great stash busting project, so feel free to use whatever you already have on hand. For day one, you'll need the colors Mint, which is color number 24, Brown, which is color number 7, Natural White, which is color number 2, and these are from the Rainbow Cotton line. From the Friends Cotton, you'll need Pomegranate, which is number 41, and Rose, which is color number 44. Other materials that you'll need are going to be a B 2.25mm crochet hook, 6mm safety eyes, you'll need a stitch marker, straight pins, black embroidery floss and a needle, a yarn needle, scissors, thin cardboard like from a cereal box, and you'll also need some fiberfill. Let's get started with day one. It's a mini hot cocoa complete with marshmallows and peppermint chips. For this pattern, you'll need to know how to make a magic ring, how to single crochet, chain, and half double crochet. You'll also need to know how to work in the back loops and front loops only. Video tutorials for how to do these techniques can also be found in the description below. We're going to start by making the mug. I'm making mine in this mint color, but have fun and choose any color that you'd like. To begin with round 1, it says to make 6 single crochet into a magic ring. So I'm just going to make a magic ring here. And then I'll make 6 single crochet inside. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then just pull the tail to close the ring. And now let's move on to round 2. Round 2 says to increase in each stitch around for 12 stitches. So I'm going to place 2 single crochet into each stitch for a total of 12. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's the end of round 2. I've gone ahead and placed a stitch marker in my last stitch of that round. Now let's move on to round 3. Round 3 says to single crochet 1, increase 6 times for 18 stitches. So I'll place 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then in the next stitch I will increase. So I'll place 2 together. And I'll repeat that all the way around 6 times until I end with 18. So there's 1, and then I'll increase, so 1, 2. Now let's repeat that. Single crochet 1, and then you'll increase in the next stitch. So 1, 2. 1, then I'll increase. 1, 2. And that's going to be the end of round 3. Now let's move on to round 4. Round 4 says to single crochet 2, increase 6 times for 24 stitches. So I'll place 1 single crochet in the first, another single crochet in the second, and in the third stitch I'll increase by placing 2 stitches together. So single crochet 1, 2, and then we'll increase. So 1, 2. Single crochet 1, single crochet 2, and then we'll increase. 1 and 2. Now repeat that all the way around. And that's going to be the end of round 4. Moving on to round 5, the pattern says to single crochet 3, increase 6 times for 30 stitches. So I'll place 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches, so 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th stitch we'll place an increase, so put 2 single crochets together. So we'll single crochet 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll increase 1, 2. Now repeat that. 1, 2, 3, and then increase. So 1, 2. Repeat that all the way around until you end at the stitch marker. And that's going to be the end of round 5. Moving on to round 6, the pattern says in back loops only, single crochet 30. So if you were to look at your stitches, you have a front loop and a back loop. The one in the back is going to be where we're going to crochet. So insert your hook in the middle of those stitches, yarn over, and make your single crochet. And we'll keep doing that all the way around. So just place 1 single crochet into every stitch. And that's going to be the end of round 6. As you can see, working in the back loops only created a little rim for us to have the base of our mug. Moving on to round 7 through 14, the pattern says to single crochet 30. So that just means we'll place 1 single crochet into each stitch for those rounds. So we'll just go 1, 2, 3, and just keep working all the way until you hit your stitch marker. And this is going to be the end of round 7. Now for rounds 8 through 14, just repeat what we just did. I'll see you back here once I've finished round 14. And that's going to be the end of rounds 7 through 14. So you should have something that looks like this. Now let's move on to round 15. The pattern says in front loops only, single crochet 30. So before, when we made the rim, how we went in the back loops, this time we're going to work in the front loops, so the loops that are closest to us. So you'll insert your hook underneath and only go through the 1. So you'll leave the back loop untouched. So then make a single crochet, and we'll do that for every stitch around. And after working a few of the stitches, if you look on the inside, you can see the back loops that we're not working in. And that's going to be the end of round 15. So I'm just going to fasten off and just trim about 5 inches or so off. And then I'm just going to pull this through. Now that we've finished the mug, I'm going to weave in this tail. I like to do an invisible fasten off. And so to do that, we're going to thread our yarn onto a yarn needle. And then what we're going to do is this stitch right here, we're going to skip. So this is the first stitch of that round. We're going to go into the second stitch. You'll weave your needle underneath the V and you'll pull it through. And then we're going to pull this yarn forward so that we can access our last stitch. And you'll insert your needle in between the front and back loop, and you'll go under the back loop only, and you'll pull this through, and then you'll tighten it just a little bit, and that will be your invisible fasten off. So it makes it almost nearly impossible to see. Then with the remaining tail, I'm just going to weave it through some of these stitches along the inside of the mug. And just pull the needle through. Be careful not to pull too tight, otherwise that stitch that we created will tighten too much. And then I'm just going to trim the yarn, and that's going to be our mug. Now it's time to add the eyes. We're going to place the safety eyes between rounds 9 and 10, or what I like to do is count from the bottom up, and that's going to be 4 to 5 rows. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll place it in between 4 and 5. And I like to use my crochet hook just to get the hole started, so that way it's easier for me to get the safety eye into the piece. And we're going to place them 4 stitches apart. So you'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll insert it into the 5th one. And that's how they should look. Now I'm going to add the safety backings. Now I'm going to add the mouth. If you aren't sure how to do this, I have a full video tutorial here on my channel showing you how to create the smile. And that's going to be the smile. Next, I'm going to add pink cheeks, and this is totally optional. So I'm going to cut a strand of pink yarn. I'll tie a knot at one end. With the yarn needle and the yarn, I'm going to make 2 little lines underneath the eyes. So just find a stitch and pull it through, and then we'll go right back into the mug. Like so. And then we'll repeat for the other side. So I like to just continue with the yarn on there without cutting it or tying a knot, and then I'll insert it underneath the other eye. And those are going to be the cheeks. And then I'll just secure this yarn with a knot. All right, and that's how our mug is going to look. And if you'd like, you can melt the back of your safety eyes. I have a video tutorial on my channel explaining how to do that. To make the base more flat, we're going to use a piece of thin cardboard to add to the bottom. Trace the bottom of the mug and cut out until it fits within the rim. Then we'll just place this inside of the mug and we'll put fiberfill on top of it. Now I'm just going to be adding fiberfill to fill the cup. Now you don't have to add all of it at once because we will be adding more once we start attaching the cocoa. Now it's time to make the cocoa. I'll be using the brown color number 7 yarn for this part. So to begin, I'm going to start with round 1, which says 6 single crochet in a magic ring. So I'm going to make my magic ring and place the 6 single crochet inside. And just close the magic ring. And that's the end of round 1. Now moving on to round 2, the pattern says to increase in each stitch around for 12 stitches. So I'll just place 2 single crochet in every stitch around until I get to 12. And that's going to be the end of round 2. I'm going to place my stitch marker in that last stitch. And then we'll move on to round 3. Round 3 says to single crochet 1, increase 6 times for a total of 18 stitches. So I'll place 1 single crochet in the first, and then I'll increase by placing 2 single crochet into the second stitch. So we'll do 1, and then we'll increase in the next. So 1, 2. Now repeat that all the way around until you hit the stitch marker. And that's going to be the end of round 3. Moving on to round 4, the pattern says to single crochet 2, increase 6 times for a total of 24 stitches. So I'll place a single crochet in the first stitch, a single crochet in the second stitch, and then I will increase in the third stitch. So single crochet 1, single crochet 2, and then we'll increase. 1, 2. Now repeat that all the way around until you hit the stitch marker. And that's going to be the end of round 4. For round 5, we're going to connect the cocoa to the mug. And to do that, we're going to work in both the stitches from the cocoa and the back loops that were left over from round 15 of the mug. So what I like to do is just fold the rim over on the mug so you can access those back loops that we did not work in. It might be a little tricky with the fiberfill, but you can just push that down in there so that those stitches, or those loops I should say, are visible. Now the pattern says that we're going to single crochet 3, increase for 6 times for a total of 30 stitches. So I'm going to insert my hook into the cocoa first under that first stitch, And then I will pick up the mug, and in the first back loop, I will insert the hook under that loop. So it should look like this. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through the back loop and the stitches from the cocoa. I'll have 2 loops, and then I'll yarn over again to complete the single crochet. So let's do that again. We'll insert into the next stitch, then we'll insert into the loop on the mug, the back loop. Then we'll yarn over and pull through all of those loops. Yarn over again to complete the stitch. So that's going to be our single crochet 2. Now we need to do one more. So single crochet into the cocoa and then into the back loop on the mug. Yarn over and pull through. Yarn over and pull through. So that will be our single crochet 3. Now for the increase, because we only have 24 stitches on the cocoa, but the mug has 30, we have to space out our increases. So we're going to insert our hook into the cocoa, and then we'll insert it into the back loop. We'll yarn over, pull through, then yarn over and pull through. So that's 1 single crochet. But for an increase, we need 2. So insert into that same stitch on the cocoa, but then now we're going to move over to the next stitch on the mug, or the next back loop. Yarn over and then pull through, yarn over and pull through. And that will complete the increase on the front side, but then on the back, we'll be just working into those back loops we have. So let's repeat that again. You'll insert your hook into the stitch on the cocoa, insert into the back loop, yarn over, pull through, and complete the stitch. Do that all the way around until you end at the stitch marker. So that's 1, 2, 3, and now increase. So 1, 2. Now at this point, I'm going to add more fiber fill since we didn't fill it all the way at first. And while you're filling, you can just kind of squish the mug so that you can get all that fiber fill in there. Now I'm going to continue crocheting. All right, and that's going to be the end of round 5. Now I'm going to fasten off and make a clean fasten off using the same technique that we did for the mug. Now let's add the marshmallows and peppermint chips. For the marshmallows, I'll be using the rainbow cotton in color Natural White, number 2. And for the peppermint chips, I'll be using Friends Cotton in the color Pomegranate, number 41. I've already gone ahead and cut a length of white yarn, and I've tied a knot at one end. Then with it on the yarn needle, I'm going to insert it into the mug, and then I will come out onto the cocoa. Pull this through all the way until the knot goes inside the mug. Later, we'll use a smaller hook to grab that little tail. Then for the marshmallow, you're going to go into one of the stitches on the cocoa, and then we'll go back over to where we came up. Insert that and pull through, and then you're left with a little line. Now we're gonna go over that spot about 3 to 4 times to build up the marshmallow. And on this last time, I'm going to insert it back into the same spot, but now I'm going to go into a different area of the cocoa. So then I'll push it through one of the stitch holes and pull this through. And now that's completed the first marshmallow, and now I'm going to start the second marshmallow. So insert it into the cocoa, and we'll just repeat that sequence again, going over the same spot about 3 to 4 times. Now go to a different spot on the cocoa. And you can make as many marshmallows as you want. I find that 5 is the perfect amount for this top of the cocoa. Now on the last marshmallow, once you've completed all of your repeats, you're just going to insert the needle back out through the mug. And we'll finish that marshmallow. And then we're just going to secure this with a knot. And then trim. And then with a smaller crochet hook, I like to go into one of the stitches and pull those tails in so you can't see them. And those are going to be the marshmallows. Now, if you have any fiberfill that has come out, just pull it out and you'll be totally fine. So now let's add the peppermint chips. With the red yarn, tie a knot at one end just like we did with the marshmallow. Now for the peppermint chips, we're going to scatter them throughout the marshmallows. You'll insert the needle back into the mug like we did before, and then you'll insert it into the cocoa and pull through. Now for the peppermint chips, we don't need to go over to build them up. You'll just need to make one stitch. So insert into the cocoa and then go to another area of the top and insert the hook. So they almost just look like little sprinkles. So we'll repeat this all the way around until we're happy with how many we have. And once you've created all of them, you'll insert the hook back into the mug and pull through. And then you'll secure this with a knot. And do the same thing like we did with the marshmallow. We'll cut this and then we'll insert a smaller hook to grab those tails. So now they're hidden, and that is what the top of it's going to look like. Now let's finish the mug by making the handle. Using the same color as the mug, I'm going to chain 17. So I put the yarn on the hook. Now let's chain 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now the pattern says, starting in the second chain from the hook, we're going to work 1 half double crochet into each space for 16 stitches. So I'm going to yarn over, and in the second chain from the hook, so not this first one, you'll go into the second one. We'll insert our hook, yarn over and pull through. So we'll have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 to complete the half double crochet. Now we'll repeat that step for every single chain space here. So yarn over, insert into the chain, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over all 3 loops. And now that we've reached the end, we're going to fasten off and we're going to leave a tail for sewing. So then I'm going to fasten off by just pulling the loop all the way until that tail comes through. So now you should have a piece that looks like this. Now to attach the handle, we're going to place the side with the tails along the rim of the mug. You'll want to place it on the side, but have it be forward enough that it doesn't look too wonky. So I like to place some straight pins into the handle just to hold it in place. And then from the top, we're going to go 3 half double crochets down. So 1, 2, 3, and we'll bend it, and that part will sit next to the mug. Then I like to place 1 straight pin just in there to hold it in place while I sew the bottom part. So it should look something like this if you were to look at it from the front. Now with the shorter tail, so you'll see that there are 2 tails here. One is shorter. We'll take the shorter one and weave it into the mug. We won't be using this tail. So just weave it up, and then we will secure this tail later. Now with the longer tail, we'll weave it onto the needle. And now we're going to sew the bottom of the handle to the mug. I like to insert into the mug first and come out through one of the stitch holes and pull through. This just kind of anchors it into place so that way I can remove one of the pins. Now going back into that same stitch hole, we'll go up to the outside of the front loops that were left over. We'll pull through. Now I'm going to turn this around and then insert it back into the handle and pull through. Then we'll just keep repeating this. So I will put the needle back into the same spot where the yarn came out, go back down to the rim, and I will pull through. Then I will insert it back into the handle and back into the mug. Now you can remove that last pin. Now I'm going to weave the needle from this position to go up to sew the top of the handle into place. So I'll insert it next to a stitch right by the handle, and I'll pull this through. So now the bottom of the handle should be sewn into place, and now we're going to sew the rest of this into place. I'm going to insert my needle underneath one of the stitches from the handle, and I'll pull it through. So it should look something like this. Now I'm going to wrap it around and come back down into the mug. And then you'll pull it through. So it's just catching those loops along the edge. You can remove this pin if you need to. Sorry. And that's what it should look like once you get to the top. Then I'll insert it back into the mug and we'll go to the other side. And now we have to sew this part onto the mug. So just repeat what we did before. You'll insert into the mug, you'll come out and you'll grab one of these stitches from the handle, pull it through, and now we're going to insert it back into the mug. And then you can kind of just whip stitch this around, catching the loops from the handle and the mug at the same time. And once you're happy with how secure the handle is, you'll just weave your needle through, and then we'll secure both of these tails. So you'll just tie a knot and then hide inside the mug. And with a smaller crochet hook, just insert it into a stitch and then pull the tail through. We'll repeat for this other one. Perfect. And then you can kind of squish it just to get the shape right, since we were sewing and it kind of made it a little bit wonky. That is how your handle should be sewn onto the mug. And here is our finished hot cocoa. I love how easy this one is and how customizable you can make it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the rest of the 12 days of mini Christmas amigurumi. I'll see you back here tomorrow for another wintry friend. Happy crocheting, friends!